Good afternoon. We are here. It is the day after the presidential election, and it is time for America to heal. We are here. We're bringing on some amazing, amazing women that serve all over Passaic County and in Philadelphia to have a dialogue which is much needed for the time and the season in which we are in. First of all, let me say thank you to Channel 52 for this awesome opportunity and this platform so that you can hear from some of our elected and appointed women that serve in various roles to get some understanding as to their thoughts, their reactions, and also their response as women of power, women of influence, and women who are rising, taking mantles, and taking the world by storm. And so we welcome Senator Nellie Poe. We welcome Assemblywoman Shavonda Sumter. We welcome Surrogate Judge Bernice Toledo. We welcome Councilwoman Esther Perez. We welcome Commissioner Bridget Arick. We welcome Commissioner Amber Huck and the former Deputy Mayor of Philadelphia and the Democratic candidate for Auditor General, Ms. Nina Ahmad. Welcome to the amazing women all over Passaic County and Philadelphia. And so I will be your host on today. I am Councilwoman Dr. Lisa Mims. I serve in the great city of Paterson, New Jersey. And I just want to open up the dialogue as we go into intro for every person that is on today. I currently serve as the Vice President of the City Council. I am the second African American female to serve as the Vice President. I was the first female to be the Vice President of the Planning Board for the City of Paterson, and I am the third African American female to be a councilwoman at large in the great city of Paterson. So at this time, let's start our introductions. We will start with Senator Poe, Assemblywoman Sumter, Surrogate Toledo, Councilwoman Perez, Commissioner Arick, Commissioner Huck, and then former Deputy Mayor Ahmad, in that order. If they will give us a brief introduction to let everyone know who you are. Thank you.
I just unmuted myself. Again, thank you so very much, Councilwoman Mims. Let me just say I'm really very happy to be able to join both you as well as all the amazing women that I see that are here on this show. My name is Nellie Poe. I'm the senator from the 35th Legislative District. I've been in office now for 23 years, served 14 years in the Assembly, and the balance of that time for the past 9 years or so, I've been serving as the senator. I have I represent the 35th Legislative District along with my colleague, my district mate, Assemblywoman Shavonda Sumter, that you're going to hear very soon. I'm the first woman to have served in the 35th District and the first Latina to serve in the district as well. I have truly, it's been my true honor and privilege to be able to serve in the New Jersey State Legislature. So I look forward to today's program. Thank you again.
Good afternoon. I'm Assemblywoman Shavonda Sumter, and I'm honored to be here serving not only with our senator from Bergen and Passaic County, 35th District. I am the second African-American woman to serve in this capacity for our district. So I thank the trailblazers such as Senator Nellie Poe, who paved the way and left the door open. When I came into the legislature in 2012, the seat was warm and ready for me to serve because the door was left open. We've done remarkable things. One of the things that I'm most proud of is this year, since 1844 in the state of New Jersey, persons on probation and parole, 83,000 people were re-enfranchised to vote. So they were able to vote in this presidential election, which was historic, which you'll hear more about. And I'm honored to be on this call, this meeting with all of you and these fabulous women. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Councilwoman Mims, for having me here and Channel 52. My name is Bernice Toledo. I'm the judge of the Surrogates Court for Passaic County. In this role, I've been serving close to a decade. I am the only woman of color that has served in Passaic County ever. And during my entire decade tenure, I've been the only woman of color to serve statewide. But that will change soon. In fact, another judge of the Surrogates Court was recently elected at Somerset County, Tina Jala, who will, effective next year, be the second woman of color serving in this capacity. I handle matters of the deceased, I handle matters of the incapacitated adult, and matters of the orphan child. Most of the matters I handle are laced with end-of-life decisions, with death and dying. And one of the interesting things that has happened with COVID is that it has put me in an even better position to serve. Passaic County, as a regular matter, suffers about 300 deaths a month on any given month in the last 5-10 years or so. In the month of April 2020, we suffered 1,320 deaths. And as the Surrogates Court, we had to be ready for it. We had to be ready for it because we come after the ambulance, we come after the funeral director. We're the last responders. We are the people that are between you and the assets of the decedent, you and being able to pay bills. And we're there to help. And what COVID did was help my court and me implement systems, remote systems, to help the people. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve all this time in this capacity, which is not legislative in nature. But what we do is we enforce the law. We make sure that everybody in our community has a fair shake. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Esther Perez. I'm a councilwoman in Prospect Park, first Puerto Rican elected councilwoman. And the reason why I say Puerto Rican is because we are a mixed culture of Taino Indians, African American, and Spaniards. So we are people of color. And I have to tell you, when I first ran, it was a race that was a little difficult because they were saying that, oh, here's this little Hispanic woman running in our town and she can't even speak English. Well, I have to tell you, my English is better than my Spanish. And to all of those people that spoke like that about me, they were really surprised when they saw this woman speak well educated. I taught in Patterson for 32 years. I recently retired, became a grandmother at the age of 60. I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited to be part of this panel. I'm excited for change. I'm excited for what's coming next. I'm excited for unity. Thank you.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, I am Commissioner Bridget Arick, and I am the first African-American to be elected on Manchester Regional High School Board of Education, and also re-elected. I just received my votes to be re-elected, and I thank Prospect Park for re-electing me as a commissioner on the Board of Education. I think also the host of this particular show, Councilwoman Lalisa Mims, and Channel 52 for inviting me. I'm nervous and excited because when I look around this panel, I'm like, these women are doing things, right? They're doing things, and I love it. I love to be in their company. The conversation behind the scenes was one that I was just staring at everybody and just saying, oh, you guys are doing so much, and I'm honored to be here. I am the wife of Stacey Arick. We've been married for almost 20 years. We have 4 lovely kids, and I am, I know I don't look that old, but I'm a grandmother of 3, and I love my grandkids, and I'm so excited at this time. When I actually posted the other day that Camilla Harris looks like me. She looks like my daughter. She looks like my grandchildren, my granddaughters. So I'm excited at this time. I am a community leader. I always joke around and say that I've been a community activist and a community organizer since I was like 11, 12 years old. My mom has 12 children. So having 12 children, people like Vera Ames and Marilee Jackson, all of those, they called upon my mom and her children to help out in the community. So I got my community leadership at the early age of 12 and being one of Mrs. Bugg's kids and helping out in the community. So I took that particular skill, and I am a coordinator, a district-wide coordinator for Patterson Public Schools. I've been there for about 10 years, and I help coordinate efforts with our local PTO, our moms, our dads in the PTO. I teach them how to advocate for their children and how to navigate through the school system by connecting the community, the staff, and the children with the parents. I also am a leader in Prospect Park, where I am a youth leader, youth council leader. I also was Prospect Park Census Committee. Me and Commissioner Huck work very closely together in this year's census. And, I do a plethora of other things. I have my nonprofit, which helps with children getting scholarships and helping them succeed in their endeavors in life. So I am so proud to be on this panel, and I thank you for the invite.
Hi, good evening, ladies. My name is Amber Huck, and I am the Commissioner for City of Patterson Task Force. I'm the first South Asian Muslim woman representing Pakistani Bangladesh descendant for the city. And I am so honored. Just look at the panel. It's giving me such a beautiful vibes, and especially what happened last night. I'm high. I'm literally high. Yeah. So I also have been part of Baudi, which is a Bangladeshi American Women Association. I'm also on the panel board of Shalom organization, which is a interfaith organization. I'm also on the committee of Converts and Rivers of the Passaic County Center, and many other things. And during COVID, what happened that, the beauty of bringing humanity and people together in such a difficult time, we did that. Channel 52 also came up on a rise. We were guiding people of the guidelines. And because I am also infant toddler specialist, I kept it in mind that, how we are involving our younger kids, because parents had to go to work. There were some essential parents, and there are some parents who are not essential and they lost their jobs. So how are you leaving kids in the home unattended? At times it did happen. So, I was helping the school board and the places, which can be religious places, where licensing could be easier to make things happen and, make means happen for the families. I see my role as a communicator, a person who can bring the bridges and gaps between community. I think as women, we can do that. We have that power because we are the grassroots of any community. We can do what the wars have not done. And it's extremely important for us to recognize that role.
Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Nina Ahmed here from Philadelphia, from your bordering state of Pennsylvania. It is such a pleasure to be here with my sisters from New Jersey, powerful sisters. We all stand in solidarity to get the work done. That's what women do. They roll up their sleeves, they multitask, and they get the job done. And we just saw a woman get the job done in the White House, and I'm so proud of Senator Kamala Harris, our Vice President-elect, who has broken that ceiling. And as she said, she might be the first, but she's not the last. I am someone who also just ran for office, and I ran for Office of Auditor General, which was a massive undertaking in a very difficult time. First, I am the first woman of color to have been the Democratic nominee for this position. I did not make it finally, and we're still counting the votes, but I did garner 3 million plus votes, which was more than the votes that my heroes, Hillary Clinton and President Barack Obama got for his second term. So we have broken some ceilings, and my job is going to be making sure that those cracks become wider and more people go through it. I have served as a deputy mayor in Philadelphia, the first Asian American to be in any mayoral cabinet in Philadelphia's history. So we have a lot of work to do. I can't be the last there either. And I served on President Obama's Commission for Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, where I understood that if you're not at the table, just like Shirley Chisholm said, you're on the menu. You need to bring your own folding chair to do this. And I was very, very fortunate to have that role to see how representation matters. You know, if your voice is not at your table, your communities don't get taken care of. So having Senator Harris at the top of the ticket is critical. As a Black woman, as a South Asian woman, you know, she is what America is about, and that's the promise of America. So I am thrilled to have received 3 million votes, even if I'm not fully successful to become the Auditor General. I have achieved something that I think, in parallel to Senator Harris, we can forge ahead and have many more people at the table. And I also am a scientist by training. So I bring that kind of lens to the table to say that we must be evidence-based and fact-based and not use fear and division in our country. And finally, I am an advocate for women. I serve on the National Organization for Women on their national board. And there we've been dismantling these barriers to women, to communities of color, and all marginalized communities. So I am thrilled to be here. I thank Channel 52 and our gracious hosts here today, and I look forward to our conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. So as you see, we have so many amazing women of power, of grace, of class, normalcy. That word is going to go a long way after 4 years. Normalcy should be the new epitaph of America. So in 1 to 2 words, I'm going to give this to every guest on the show today. I would like you to say in 1 to 2 words, what do you think America needs? And we'll start in the same order with Senator Nellie Poe. In 1 to 2 words, what do you think America needs?
Well, we need unification. We need to ensure that we have the ability to bring back the decency rather than the dysfunction that this country has been under. I know you asked for in 2 words. It's really hard when we want to be able to share so much, but we need a true leader in the White House.
So off of that, Councilwoman Mims, we need healing and love. 2 strong words. We saw a lot of hate these past few months with the election, let alone the past 4 years. We saw a visceral disregard for humanity and those in need, and that's not the country that we know to be the United States, except for being African American and know the sordid history of over 400 years of slavery and the debasing of African Americans. The civil unrest that unfolded with the loss of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and countless others, senseless deaths, innocents who were unarmed and lost their lives too soon. We have to get back to some form of middle ground, compassion that includes the healing and love for oneself and all mankind.
I would say we need compassion more than anything, and dignity. In the surrogates court, as I said earlier, we handle matters of the deceased, and I think nobody's more vulnerable than somebody who lost their loved one, who's lost their spouse, who lost a parent. And we have to continue and go back to showing people that compassion is theirs. There will be some resentment. This was a very polarizing election, to say the least. And those who are in power have to show that we serve all the people. In the surrogates court, I'm the judge of the surrogates court. I'm the only one in the state of New Jersey that's elected. In New York, they're all elected. In New Jersey, they're all appointed by governor or mayor, depending on what level you are. I'm elected by the people. So whether you voted for me or not, you get treated with compassion, because I understand that you come to the court for a service. I understand you come to the court because you have a problem. Otherwise, you'd stay home, right? So I think the theme for the day should be compassion, even with, and especially with, those who don't agree with us. Let them know that we're just all here for one purpose, for one society, to push ourselves forward and for better for everybody.
You're muted. Councilwoman, you're muted.
Your next, Commissioner, Councilwoman Esther.
Yes, I think we need our dreamers to dream again. And we need our children to know that they are not going to be separated from their parents again. It's heartbreaking. I got to see that personally when in kindergarten, where a child came in who hadn't been with his mother for 3 months because he was separated in the detention centers. And when he came into my classroom, he didn't want to walk in because he thought he was being detained again. So that feeling that will no longer exist, it's a great feeling. And that's what I think we need for this country.
It's a couple of things that we need, and that's hard to just put it in a couple of words. First, I think that what we need immediately is we need to keep the momentum that we have and look at the bigger picture in terms of what's coming next. We need a plan of action. We need to also keep it honest, keep it transparent about the racial divide, the digital divide that has, with COVID has exposed, the lack of medical fairness and coverage for everyone. We need to address COVID. Like, we really do need to address COVID. We need to be transparent in what we in the way that we operate. Most of all, we need to educate. I think that a lot of the division that we have and that we see in the world is because of misinformation and lack of educating each other on laws, on different things. And we need to share. We need to share financially, not only the wealth. I am in the school system. I see our children and some of the lack of necessities that they have, the basic things of education that they are entitled to, but they don't really have. So we need to address some of the things that we have that's going on in our community, but most of all, keep the momentum. We had a common ground, whether we all agreed or disagreed about who would be president or who would be vice president. We did have a common ground that these individuals sought to have some of our needs met, right? Whether it was socially, whether it was economically, or what have you. So let's keep that momentum and keep that united front, and let's move forward.
So my 2 words are nurturing and respect. Why nurturing? Because, my background is from early child care. And we just look what happened in the last 4 years. We have been, we've been through a lot. And to bring back together is part of it. We really need to nurture our own self, our own society, specifically as we are coming from COVID. American Healing will be in terms of more investment in industrial, sectors for creating more jobs and economy, because it comes at the end, it comes on what do I have on the table for my family? And then the stress and everything follows through that. Mental health piece is a huge part of it. So we need to do a couple of things, and I think we are so lucky to have Kamala Harris, and being a woman of South Asian and African American descendant. Two most beautiful, I can't say most beautiful, two beautiful things coming together on the panel, and the energy, as I'm saying that I see all positive energies going through, and I served on 4 different panels for Joe Biden, and this selection made me like, please God, please come down and make this happen. We cannot have another 4 years. It's going to be going back 40 years. And so I'm just so excited. I think whatever we needed, it actually happened, and it's going to go good from here. But again, nurturing and respect, because we really need to respect each other's boundaries, and it's going to go right. It's all hopeful.
Thank you. As an immigrant to this country, what Ms. Perez said resonated deeply with me. There's a lot of things we have to do, but fundamentally, 2 things: justice and equity were on the ballot, and we have to deliver. We have to deliver that. We have to remember, as we are healing, to not forget the wounds, because if we don't go and attend to those wounds and we just cover up, we're going to have it all happen all over again. So we as a nation have to face the wounds that we have honestly, and make sure that we are attending to result in justice and equity for all, whether it's healthcare, whether it's our immigration reform, whether it's, how we do our policing. All of those things emanate from justice and equity for all. We are all equal in this country, and we must have an administration that serves us in that capacity, and we must have solidarity, standing together and making sure we have justice and equity for all. So that would be my 2 things that I'm really hopeful about.
Thank you, ladies. There were some amazing, amazing quotes. So social media is a part of my daily routine. So I'm just letting you know in advance, I will be using some of the things that you have stated. I think this is absolutely awesome. But if we can add to that, I would say reminders. Over the last 4 years, there were many things that will remind us of how far we do not want to go back. So it should be a progression, a forward movement, and there also needs to be accountability. We rocked the boat. We were all over the country to ensure that we elected Joe Biden to be our 46th president and Vice President Kamala Harris. Let us ensure that those things that we need and our agenda is at the forefront as this transition takes place. So with that said, and let's say this to the audience, thank you for watching. If you have questions, please put them in the comments. We are watching the comment sections on Channel 52. We will try to get to them if we can. But please, if you have questions, we would like to get some of your questions asked and answered. Our next question to our amazing women is this. We just elected a Democrat to be our 46th president of the United States of America. I could just take my hat and just throw it in the air. Remember graduation? Throw your hat in the air. To be the president of the United States of America. I don't know, we're going to go around to hear your thoughts, but I cried so much that I barely have a voice. So let's do the round table again. I want to hear your thoughts when finally, after 2 days of waiting on CNN, waiting on NBC, waiting on everybody to announce, what were your responses? So let's start again, Senator Paul, and then we'll work our way around. I want to hear, everyone wants to hear, how did you feel as a human? What were your thoughts from what we just went through over the last 4 years?
Thank you. First of all, let me just say, I think I can pretty much assume where everyone was at that moment, because for the last several days after election, all we ever did, I know that was what I was doing, is glued to that television, trying to find out when the final notice and when it was going to be declared. So I think it was for all of us when that moment happened. Not only was I elated, not only were we like saying, thank you, God, because we knew what was happening, right? We were following every single day. We kept seeing what it was just a matter of those predictions to be actually put in place. I think what happened on that day was that America finally knew that it had pushed the end button for the current administration and pushed a fresh new start button for the Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. You know, I mentioned before about what were the two words when we were, just real quickly. You know, when I talk about that we've chosen decency over dysfunction, it's also we've chosen telling the truth over the craziness of all the lies that to it. It was choosing empathy over cruelty. It was really making sure that we were building and unifying our country and restoring the great faith of this country to come back to as one that we know that it is. This year, it has sparked so much conversation about race and how many people were willing to finally talk about that out loud, and the massive changes that took place out in the street and all abroad, and making sure that we truly brought that issue to the forefront. I think my last statement that I would say on that is that I was so emotional to see Kamala Harris be announced the day that she was giving her speech, that at 8 o'clock on that evening. I was literally emotional to see a woman of color, a woman that truly reflects the ideologies and things that we want for all the little girls in this world, to see what a difference it will make when we have a country that has come together as one. As a woman of color, for me, it was the most exciting. It took us 100 years, ladies. It took us 100 years to get to this point. But I know I heard before from some of the speakers, we are committed, we are dedicated, we are true to our word, we know what we're doing, and what a great reflection of all the accomplishments that women have done for this country, but for us especially, for all those little girls out there. What a message that sends to all of them. It was a beautiful sight to see them all on stage, and the difference of the diversity that took place among our country is really, can't say much. 150 million people voted in this country. When you think about the 74 plus million people that voted for this president, our president-elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that is something to be said. Now is time, as you all said, the healing to take place, the unification of our country, for us to come together as one, and that will happen under this presidency.
So, well stated, Senator Poe. The number 46, I'm 46 years old. 46 means a lot to me.
I know that now. See that? There you go. And Grace, you know that with Grace.
Thank you. That number means a lot. I can tell you by Wednesday, because we stayed up to about 3 a.m. Watching numbers in angst and turmoil. And you talk about mental health from the impact of COVID, the impact of the economy, the impact of students learning virtually, and women managing households, as well as trying to make sure their kids are educated and not enough income to extend through the end of the month. This was in angst. I do believe that God's hand was in it, meaning that time, we needed the time for those Trumpeteers, because there was over 70 million of them, to come to grips with our democracy and not upending non-armed poll workers who were counting the votes in states like Georgia, states like Nevada, states like Arizona, because New Jersey, we knew we were going to be blue. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, we were counting and waiting on you because we knew you had to stand with us and stand for love and no longer stand for hate. We also know when we talk about 400 years of coming out of slavery and the civil unrest that our country was on the brink of, that we needed a healer, a unifier, and that Joe Biden kept his word. He said when he got the nomination that he would select a woman to serve as his running mate. And not only did he select a woman, he selected a woman of color who crosses so many different boxes, right? We know about those check boxes as you're selected to be on these different tickets. But not only did she was a woman, she was a woman who was able to raise money, who stood on the national platform, said she was fearless in running for president herself, and she didn't tap out. She didn't tap out. She stood up and still asked tough questions when we were forced to accept an appointment on the Supreme Court bench less than 10 days before a presidential election. They still were trying to upend our democracy, thinking they would go to court to upend our voting system. People showed up and showed out. So yesterday, I was happy to see car parades. We still have stuff happening in our communities where people are celebrating. My daughter, who's 21, called me elated because, yes, she sees someone who looks like her, who knows the American dream has not been stolen. It is not limited to the color of your skin or the race. We have work to do. Senator Poe knows this. We're here for it. We're going to fight these wealth gaps and disparities. And I'm looking for you all who are in council places in our education system to make sure that we teach love. We teach love. We teach respect for our differences. We teach respect for our cultures, different languages, because it's what makes us stronger. It binds us together. It shouldn't tear us apart. It's our United States of America, and the flag now represents what the flag is supposed to represent, the United States of America.
Well said.
I felt particularly excited for our young generation. So I have a lot of teenagers in my life, a nephew, many nieces, my own 2 daughters, and they were watching like hawks. They were watching the television long before watching the debates and excited for this opportunity. And what that excitement meant to me is that they understand what we've been preaching forever. Elections have consequences. We say it, we know it's true, but it seems like the public has become apathetic to that message, which is why people resort to things that are not legislation, that are not voting to the polls, which is why they don't show up. But how interesting and how telling that this election produced more young people, the 18 to 24 demographic, than the 2016 election. And that was a really significant election. What that lets me know is what my daughter has been telling me all along, which is Gen Z rocks, which is Gen Z is here to move and to make changes. That means that they're hopeful and that they understand how to make change. We affect change by electing people who represent our values. My nephew, 18 years old, not a whisker on his face. I sent you a picture of him, right? Not a whisker on his face, but he had a ballot in his hand and he put it in that mailbox with so much pride. It gave me pride to see how he felt about it. And that's what this election has brought to me. It was a call to arms to everyone, even 18-year-olds who normally wouldn't be so preoccupied with these things. They're thinking about their future, and that's what we want them to do. We want them engaged. We want them to exercise their vote. And how exciting for me to see that the process did what it was supposed to do. Votes were counted, the election was called, and hopefully we can move forward.
Okay, what this election meant to me, it was so, like, Assemblywoman Sumter, you said God was in it. I have to tell you, yesterday I had like this unrest inside of me, and I decided to put a give thanks banner on my lawn. And as soon as I put that give thanks banner on the lawn and I went inside, the news was there. The news was there. We did it. We did it. We did it. America was there. Our children saw the process. We will come out of this stronger than ever, and our children will see the diversity and that their dreams can come true. And like I said, Assemblywoman Sumter hit it right on point. God was in this. Thank you.
For myself, I felt mixed emotions. I'm always a realist, but I'm always, because I think so much, I always think of what's next, what's next, what's next, what's our next job, what's our next assignment. And that's the way my mother reared me. Like, now that this is gone, and I hear people say, yeah, we're celebrating with this. I'm not a celebratory person. I am, this is what we've done. Now let's go on to what we need to do. So I felt, first of all, tears of pride. I felt tears of pride because, again, Camilla looks like me. The unity in the African-American community, whether it was for, grassroots all the way down to different organizations, we stuck together. If you look at the statistics, African-American women up to 90% voted for Camilla and also Biden. African-American men voted. I had pride. In who I am, who I was, and who my grandmother praying for us. So all of those thoughts came through my head. But then I also thought about, now what? The work begins, right? I thought about accountability. What's the plan? So all of these things, what's the plan? What's the and this is the way I was always taught. What's the Black agenda? Like, what is that, what is that plan for the Black agenda for the people of color? How do we move forward? Who do we make accountable? I thought about keeping the momentum, the importance of our votes, as the judge said, the importance of our vote and how much we can accomplish together. Like, this basically says how much we can accomplish, not only if we rely on God, but each other. And if we're transparent, if we move forward, even if we take, my prayer is that even as a community, if we go to healing and being transparent and forgiving and all of those other things, if we take three initiatives that we can stand on together, that's a point that we can start and say we're agreeing at this point to go 1, 2, 3, and everyone follows through with that. No matter what affiliation you are, whether it's any other community, whether it's an organization or what have you, those little steps that we can take to wipe out a whole lot of stuff that actually has been happening for the last couple of years, because it didn't happen overnight. Right? So we can't cure it overnight. But those little things that we can, as a nation, just say, we're going to attack this coronavirus together. We're going to do those little steps will make us the great America that we want to be, that we're not there yet, but we can get there. It's not impossible. We can get there. So that was my kind of all over the thing thoughts, as it came in.
Thanks, Commissioner Bridget. Always love how you put things together in such a beautiful way. So when it came to me, I felt that it was part of me involved in it, in seeing in, Kamala Harris. And it was, part of all of us. I felt it was personal. And I actually visited my mom's grave the whole week. And I said, because my mom is not with me, so it's, personal. And I said, Mom, we are praying here. You got to do your job up there. You got to do your part and make this happen. Monday, I was very emotional because what was going on. And yesterday I was at my sister's house and my daughter came. So she's also the first, of her descent, will be serving United States Navy, inshallah, we call it. So it was very emotional time, and so I felt very personal. And I think because my parents are from Canada, it was so embarrassing visiting Canada. Canadians were always teasing me because of the administration. And I think this is really gonna make our country, America, coming back, healing back, especially speaking of foreign policies. It was really, where we lost all our credibilities. Mm-hmm. And having Joe Biden, he knows what he's talking about. This is gonna bring us back again.
Wonderful. I know your mother's spirit was at work. She delivered. So what I felt was unbossed and unbought, just like Shirley Chisholm said. That's what Kamala Harris showed us. She ran for office, for president. It didn't happen. And she just rolled up her sleeves and kept going. And that's how I felt, because while we were celebrating, the ticket, the presidential ticket, I didn't win, right? And I was pretty clear I wasn't, the gap was too big. But having crossed the 3 million mark, just like Kamala and that ticket did, made me feel part of a bigger picture. Like what I did helped turn out the vote. What I did helped Pennsylvania turn blue. I had a very broad coalition supporting me. And so I felt so good. And I said, Shirley Chisholm, we stand on your shoulders. Kamala stands on your shoulders. We stand on so many people's shoulders who have sacrificed so much, made the ultimate sacrifice for all of us on this call to actually have a vote, have a voice. So I take it very seriously. I come from a country where I lived through the War of Independence. In 9 months, 3 million people were killed and 200,000 women and girls were brutalized. So this, if we don't watch our democracy, if we don't guard our democracy, if we don't work for our democracy, we can go into those places. So it means so much to me that not only do we have a responsible, experienced president who knows how to be on a world stage, who knows the ins and outs of governing, we also have a woman who is qualified, who is a person of color, and she knows how to wear a sari. So it all came full circle for me that her mother was a scientist like me. I came at 21, she came at 19, and the similarities and the parallels gives me chills that I might not have succeeded this time, but I'm definitely going to go the full marathon, right? This is a marathon. And I urge everyone who has any ambition, talk to all of us. We are the solidarity team that'll push each other across the finish line. So I am so thrilled to be here. I am so thrilled with this country right now. Yes, this is the country I immigrated to. These are the values I stand for. This is what we fought so hard for. But you have to fight. And the last thing I'll say is we must make sure we have their back. We must manage our expectations. We can't expect change overnight. And soon you'll start hearing naysayers. Shut them up, shut them down, make sure we have her back and President Biden's back.
Absolutely.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Wow, that is just claps to all of you. That was just so amazing. While we were excited of the news, we are in the 100th year, which we know as the centennial year of the 100 years where the 19th Amendment was ratified, where women earned the right to vote. Each one of the women that are on the panel, as well as myself as a host, we are either in elected or appointed positions, which is so powerful to be serving at this time when we have our first vice president, Kamala Harris, to be not only a female, but of African American and South Asian descent. We know there's so many barriers, so many blocks that stand in the way of this good old boy network with women trying to break through the glass ceiling to get to these points or positions of power and authority. Not that we have not always had the power and the position, it was being able to get an opportunity to get a seat at the table. So I want to hear in 3 words from all of you, when I say Kamala Harris, the vice president, the first female vice president of the United States of America, in 3 words, what will you say? Starting with Senator Paul.
So inspirational, powerful, and a person of her word. So she's going to make it work for all of us.
Phenomenal, fearless, and brilliant.
Tenacious, tenacious, tenacious. Going to Dr. Ahmad and her 3 million votes, you know, a lot of the times, well, we know, you know, there was a success yesterday, right? And success is its own reward. That's what Justice Sotomayor says. But failure is the greatest teacher. And what we know is that whether you're Kamala Harris, who lost her bid for president, or you're Stacey Abrams, who lost her bid for governor, or you're Dr. Ahmad, who lost her bid, that opens the path for the future, for the next one coming down the road. And it also teaches us to do it bigger and better. So what she is to me is a testament to tenacity. I love underdogs. I love people who lose at first and keep going until they come out on top. That's what it means to me, tenacity.
So when I think of Kamala Harris, I think of the word powerful, encourager, and brave, because that's what we are. That's when we put our foot in the election, we were brave, we were encouragers, and we're powerful. Thank you.
When I think of Kamala Harris, I don't think of just words. I think of constant sayings in my head. One of them is, "No weapon formed against me shall prosper." Every time I see her, that's the prayer that I have over her head. I think of, "I am my sister's keeper." And I also think, "I am my sister," when I think of her.
Oh, it's so hard to put 3 words.
It is. It's hard to put things.
Focused, determined, achiever, icebreaker, powerful, brave. I'm saying so many. Amazing woman.
When I think of her, I think of that drum line that she's dancing with. She's joyful. She's joyful, she's fearless, and she's persistent. And that's what she embodies for me. But most of all, she's seeing the glass half full. And I think if we all look at the glass half full, we can fight for a better day and a better future.
And so here are my 3 words: game changer, breath of fresh air, and I'm up next. Game changer, breath of fresh air, and I'm up next. And let me say this to all the women that are on the panel and those that were not a part of this panel, but you served as an elected official. You served, you've been appointed, you want to serve, you're trying to move forward, you ran. Every loss is not a loss. A loss is still a win because you made the effort to put your foot forward. And so I say every word that was vocalized by all the women on today, I say it's you. We said Kamala Harris, but every word that was mentioned here, I say ditto to all of you on this panel because it represents you too. Because you were, we are. Because of people like Councilwoman Vera Ames, Sylvia Armour, Maria Magda, Councilman Jesse Dick, so many, Judge Sotomayor, so many wonderful women that have went on and done so many amazing things. We are where we are because of the Senator Poles, because of the Assemblywoman Sumters. We are here because of you. We are because you were. And we really have to always remember that and always make sure we celebrate those women that have broke through, broken, and have broke out. So my next thing is Shirley Chisholm said something so powerful. She says, if there is no seat at the table, then you bring your own folding chair. Some of us on here, some can testify that the first time that you ran, you may not have won, or you run an election, you didn't win. Maybe they picked other people, they did not pick you. Some you got picked on the first, and that's fine. Some were first, second, third, and some were kind of honorable mentions. But nevertheless, you got here, whether it was the seat at the table, a folding chair, or you brought your own table. So my question to you is, now that you are there, how will you help to bring other women to a table that is already fully crowded with a lot of testosterone? How would you bring them there, whether you bring them to that table or will you create another table to ensure that women will stay on the cusp in the front line? So we'll start again with Senator Nellie Poe.
So let me just say that just listening to you, Councilwoman, I'm just so very happy to be on this panel and to be able to share all the things that we're talking about and to listen, really, to listen to everyone. You know, there's a saying, and we've said it and we've heard this before, but when you are really when you are elected in a certain position, or when you are in a position of whatever you might call it, a position of power, or a position that you want to be able to have been achieved, you want to be able to push your hand down, put your hand down, and be able to bring and carry and help climb that next person, that next woman up that ladder with you. We cannot just look up, but we must look right next to us, right down, and pull them right up so that they can achieve the very same result. I think that the only way that we're going to make a difference in this country, in this world, in this state, in our lives, is making sure that we not only continue to do what we're doing, but also to help to empower others. The only way we can do that is with dignity, it is with grace, it is with a commitment, it is with making sure that we look at someone else and help them become that person that they want to be, and that person to achieve at the very top. The only time we're able to do that is as women. When we work together, we recognize their ability, their achievement, their commitment, their love for others. And, you know, it's like anything else. We are truly in the front line of everything. When you think about women, you think in terms of what we do. Not only do we become the people in our household who makes the majority of the decisions, by the way, you know, we can balance that checkbook. We can build all those bridges that needs to be done. We can make sure our children are tucked in bed, but we can also make sure that at the beginning and the rise of that morning and at the end of the night, that we are making positive changes for others, and through our voices and how we empower our ability to do our job legislatively, we've been able to do that in so many ways. But as a community coming together, we can rise together as one to really build a better future for our children and all of us.
So with that said, in 2020, this past election in the House, we elected 110 women to serve in the U.S. House of Representatives. In 2019, it was 102. We're talking about history being made with women being elected to these seats that were held by white men. We're talking about women bringing the pocketbook issues to the table. We're talking about women bringing healthcare to the table. COVID-19 taught us that there's a disproportionate impact on people of color who die from the disease. Access to quality healthcare. New Jersey is ranked in the bottom of the 50 states for maternal health. Let's talk about access to maternal health care. Women are elevating these issues for our reproductive rights at the table. These are not decisions. These are not decisions over our bodies, over our futures, as we talk about being in the 100th centennial of the suffragette movement. So ladies, it's our time. We're not too busy. That's key. Senator Poe and I both are committed to mentorship, to internships for women so they know what these spaces look like. And we're also committed to helping to finance campaigns for women, because a big part of why we don't serve, why we don't win, is a financial factor. So we got to break up this boy network. We got to play rough in that space, just like we did with our brothers and our cousins when we were younger. We can do this, and we know how to do it with grace, dignity, and poise.
I think one of the most important things we should do is teach our ladies, teach our up-and-coming women the importance of creating their own opportunity. As you said, Councilwoman, Dr. Reverend Councilwoman Lalisa Mims, so many titles, right? When I first met her, I didn't know of the million titles, and she wasn't a councilwoman at that time, but I can tell you this, she saw me coming, she saw my credentials, and she supported me. Not because we were friends, not because we were neighbors, but because I was a woman. She believed in my qualifications and in my promise to the office that I would serve, the Surrogates Court. And she didn't say, well, you know, Bernice Toledo, we didn't grow up together, I'm not going to support you. She's, after screening me, of course, she supported me, and we have to continue in that fashion. And we also have to continue in the fashion of what Dr. Lalisa Mims has done, which is she's made unconventional trails to get to where she needs to be. And I think we all have. You know, I was no trust fund baby, right? So to go to school, to go to college rather, I worked days, and I went to school nights. I did that for all 3 degrees. And I did it because you have to find a way to make it done. You can sit around and wait and hope for the scholarship. You can wait and hope for a millionaire to leave you $1 million. By the way, you would get that in my Surrogates Court, but no, it's probably not going to happen. So you have to make your own opportunities. We, as those who are in leadership positions, have to ease those opportunities and make them seem viable. And there's many ways to do that. We have to let people know that everything is an opportunity. I was a Deputy Attorney General for the state of New Jersey, which meant that I represented state agencies. I had my normal clients, but 5 times a year, which was in April, in May, in June, in November, maybe some other time, I don't know, 4 times a year, I would represent the Board of Elections. It was a voluntary assignment. Doing that, and I volunteered for it. It was not part of my regular workload, so to speak, and a lot of people hated doing it because it was just an additional task. But doing that led me to meet the people that put me on the path that I am today. Everything is an opportunity, even tedious tasks. Get out there. It's our job in leadership to let you know, to recognize you in these tasks that may seem like they're not going to lead anywhere, but we're here to help you on your journey. And my message is, if you help yourself, if you seek opportunities, I'm here to help you along the way, to hold that door open so that you can come through too.
Councilwoman Perez? You're muted.
I'm sorry. Now we can hear. Now you can hear me. Like Joe Toledo said, we need each other. We need to support women. We need to mentor. We need to get have more people involved, like Shavonda Sumter said, Assemblywoman said, have interns, mentor people. We need to get more young women involved, like Bridget, like Commissioner Bridget Arick. She has the youth council. I want to be part of that. I want to help out. I helped out in the census. I wasn't part of the census committee, but I was front and centered because I knew the importance, and we were challenging people and then know how important the census was. We lost the state 10 years ago because of the census, the low count. And this year was very important. The census is as Kamala Harris being elected Vice President of the United States. So like Toledo said, and many of the other of you have said, we need to support each other financially, emotionally, and always be there for each other.
Great.
Thank you.
First and foremost, I think that it's a matter of equity and human rights. Women make up a little bit more than 50% of the world, right? So if we make up that much of the world, we should be represented, right? And that landscape should represent who is in the world. Women, we vote differently. Our lens, as you can see with Assemblywoman Sumter, I love to come with her with ideas and with her legislation knowledge. She actually, mental health is on the table, different things. We see things differently as mothers, as women. So we need to be at the table to shape the world in those particular decisions. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, I commit to networking. I've reached out to Senator Poe. We've helped each other as women. We've helped each other. Mims has helped me. Toledo and also Commissioner Hawk. And I can't even speak about enough about our councilwoman Perez. She is on my speed dial, right? So when I need those answers, or when I need to get in touch with someone, she helps me out a lot. So that networking of women is something that's very powerful. So we are knocking down, as Councilwoman, as Assemblywoman said, that good old boys network. When I came on the board of Manchester Regional High School, when I say that I am the first as a re-elected African American in the history in 2020, is not something that I say yay, but I say why. You know what I mean? I say why. Why am I the first African American? Which means that the school was not representative of its landscape. So we need to correct that. And it's my responsibility, it's our responsibility as women, which people have done for me all of my life, and women have done for me all that life, is to reach down and to say the names of the individuals that's doing the work and helping them along the way, and giving them that power to help out others and to be in the legislative body. So I thank you guys for this opportunity, and again, it's our responsibility, it's our duty, and we are the landscape that needs to be in the legislative body at this time.
I actually thank Councilwoman Mims for asking that question. I think this is one of the most an important question of all of us to ask this. We women are homemakers, builders, and if we have to make an impact in any society, it has to come through a woman, a mother, grandmother, aunt, because we are nurturers, we are healers, we bring life, in creation. God has given that ability to women for a reason. And we have to make that pavement for so many more coming behind us and after us. So I think this is personally our responsibility to help our next generation and others. And I think in this election, the major role our youth has played, by being involved. And that speaks, that volume speaks right there. I was raised by my grandmother, so, and she's with me wherever I go. The things that she has taught me, it is converting from me to my daughter, and that's happening because of, you know, being a woman and a nurturer. So we have to make sure we involve our youth and we make things easier for them, and you know, guide them in the right way. So it is extremely important.
Yes.
So, you know, we are celebrating the 100th year, but all of the women getting the vote, none of us on this call actually got it, right? When it happened. And we only got it when the Voting Rights Act was passed, which needs to be redone. But that just tells you that what we face, we have to be bold. We can't wait for someone's permission. This is what Kamala Harris says over and over again. Don't wait for someone's permission. Do it. You might fail, you know, you might not get it the first time. Whatever it is you're doing, it doesn't have to be political office. It can be many things, but just do it. I have 2 daughters, and they not only watch what I say, they watch what I do, you know, what is action. There, I have a Gen Z and I have a tail end of a millennial. And I watched the courage they have. I'm an immigrant to this country. I already came with a fully formed sense of who I was. I had family and cousins and aunts and uncles. They have nobody but their father and myself. And they have had to forge into this country, into this landscape, trying to know who they are. So we must hear their voices. We must pass on the lessons learned, and we must give them permission to say, just do it. You know, don't ask other people. If you feel right, go ahead. You might fail though, just have that in mind. And I think when I think about all of this, it is about, someone mentioned, holding each other up, especially when things are not right. Being there in the darkest hour. Those are the times you know who's your real friend, who is there for you. We don't have to agree and have the same position on everything, but we must see that we have solidarity with each other in your own lanes. And remember, there's going to be a time when women are going to run against women, right? That's happening already. So that means we're arriving where we stand on our own, in our own capacity, with our own abilities, regardless of gender, regardless of race. That's where we want to be. We want to be in that promised land that Dr. Martin Luther King said, that we are judged on the content of our character, not the color of our skin. We are getting there. We're getting there slowly but surely. And all of you are helping us get there. So I thank each and every one of you for your commitment to making that dream come true. And we must get to that promised land for all of us.
Wow, not only will I take your quotes, but I might preach that message, Dr. Ahmad. That sounds like a little preachy to me, Assemblywoman Sumter. You know, I hear that Hammond organ going E flat somewhere. So you know. Well, when all of you amazing women were speaking, I was thinking of the fact that women are nurturers. We are birthers. We are incubators. So it's like if a man, he buys the house, women, most times we decorate it. We're the feng shui. So to me, when we're not at tables, when we're not included, the feng shui is missing. The decorative piece, the birthing piece, the piece where we're able to bring things out and make something out of nothing. You know how it was with our grandparents and forefathers when they didn't know what to mix. You know, we call it arroz con pollo now, but back in the day, it was called dirty rice. They just put the chicken and the rice in the pot and mixed it together. But now we call it arroz con honduras y pollo, correct?
Right.
But all those things we learned throughout time that women took care of those roles, and now we're being pushed and brought to the forefront to make sure that not only are we at the table, because it's not important just to be at the table, but we have to make sure when we're at the table, we're representing with class and dignity, we're holding ourselves accountable and allowing others to do the same. But we have to make sure while we're there, we are meeting the needs of the people, which is so important that we cannot miss it, because that's our nurturing side as women. So we have to always stay true to that. First, let me thank everybody for joining today. We're going to go into our closing remarks, and I want you to give closing remarks. But if you have one famous quote that you have, maybe it's something that you've written yourself, maybe it's something you've heard, I want you to give your quote and then some closing remarks to all the great people that are watching and all the people that will watch in the days and weeks to come on this amazing Channel 52 station. We'll start again with our Senator Nellie Poe.
Thank you, Councilwoman. First, let me just take this opportunity to thank you, to thank also Channel 52 for putting together this very special event. I am so grateful to be a part of this very historic time and to be able to speak about what is happening and to be part of this virtual conversation event that I'm just so very happy to be a part of. I also think that it's important for us to remember something that now President-elect Joe Biden has said all throughout this election, that the battle of our souls, the battle of the soul of our nation is riding on this election, right? And that was something that was important, and we all heard that. We all heard that because the voices of each and every one of you and the voices of everyone who is going to hopefully listen to this broadcast and this information was heard. Those voices were really the important voices that really made a difference in where we are today. I think it's important for us to also take note of the fact that we need to celebrate what actually happened in this election. We need to celebrate the immense, huge diversity that actually took place during this election, and it was shown, and it was evident at those election polls at the end of the night. This country is able to talk about this historic event because of everyone's vote, but because our country truly came together in those different ways, and their individual identification, however you identify yourself, is really what came out of this election. I want to also once again say to all of these amazing women, these phenomenal women, and to everyone who's listening in, this is a time for us to celebrate, but the job is still very much ahead of us. We have a lot of work to do. We need to make sure that we bring everybody who is across that other side to come together, because at the end of the day, as it's been often said and so beautifully said, we're all Americans and we are all one. And we need to keep talking about that. Thank you so very much for having me and allowing me to be part of this great conversation.
To our moderator, Dr. Reverend Lalisa Mims, to Channel 52, to all the phenomenal women who are on this webcast. I want to thank you for allowing me to join you today. As it is Sunday, one of my favorite quotes is biblical: to whom much is given, much is required. So it is up to us to continue to work and keep in mind something that I always share: there is room on the wall. If you go into any government building, you will see a bunch of white men on those walls. Let's put some women on those walls. Let's put some women of color. Senator Kamala Harris, as our vice president-elect, will be the first woman of color on a sea of white men on a wall. So let's continue to add to the wall, to add to the mosaic that we call the United States of America. Let's be hopeful. Let's take this time to celebrate, because we will have to get to work after the swearing in January. So celebrate now, because there's a lot of work to be done. Our sleeves are rolled up. Let's get it.
Yes, well said, Assemblywoman, well said. I think that we should live in the spirit of our late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And she said, women belong in all places that decisions are being made, and women are no exception. So we have to put ourselves in a position to affect the change that we wish to see. Not all of you are ready for politics. Not all of you want to come in guns a-blazing, nor should you. But you start small. Don't just become a member of your Passaic County Bar Association. Help organize the annual gala. Don't just become a member of the housing association where you live. Help make the annual party. Do something where you are able to reach out to others on a personal level. That's leadership. That's how you build up enough coalescence to make a change. So you start there. When I used to litigate, I had a section chief, and my boss used to say to me, Bernice, if you are winning all of your cases, you are not trying hard enough. You are not pushing the boundaries hard enough. You will fail. Not you may fail. You will fail. If you're not failing, you're not trying, not hard enough. So keep pushing, because you may not even be able to envision the things that you deserve or the outcomes that could be possible. Keep pushing. You'd be surprised.
So Channel 52, Dr. Lisa Mims, and all the wonderful ladies on this panel, I want to thank you for your encouraging words. I want to thank you for your spirit. And I want to thank you for showing your love for women in power. My favorite quote is biblical as well. Though I walk through the shadow of doubt, I will fear no evil, but I die with me. I just want to say that a lot of people ask me, Esther, how do you do what you do? Like, you get involved in so many things. You help out people. You bring food. Like during the COVID, there was an elderly woman in town. I cooked 3 meals for her a day. I would bring her breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Leave it on her porch. Cook for my own family. Grocery shop for people. Get involved. Sometimes my family would tell me, you need to like slow down. I can't. It's in me. It's in me to help. I have a spirit of helping. Wherever I can help, I will. That's in me. I was born that way. And I remember when Joe Clark was my principal, he also encouraged me to get involved in the process of elections and board, and he asked me to help him, elect some board members back in the day for Patterson, and I knocked on doors, and I remember Pasquarel would do the same thing. Nellie Poe, you encouraged me to become a councilwoman. I remember seeing you at a function, and I asked you, what do you think? Because Mayor Will Kabovsik asked me if I was interested in running, and you said, absolutely, absolutely, do it. You can do it. I'm here for you. I remember those words. It resonates with me always. And what I want to say is always encourage, always talk to people. If you see someone, and you see a woman that needs help, ask her. You never know what they're going through. You never know, because mental health is something that's touching a lot of women. It's really this year 2020 has been a changer. It's been a game changer.
Yes.
With COVID. Now, thank God we have this President-elect Joe Biden, who I had a chance to go visit with him and his wife. He had a Hispanic heritage event it was 10 years ago. It was wonderful. It was at his house, and I went with Councilwoman Peralta. We drove together. It was a wonderful event. Joe Biden and Dr. Nancy Biden are wonderful people. And I feel that our country is going to go forward with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden at the table. Thank you.
Great. First of all, I'd like to thank all of the panelists. You guys, I'm amazed and I'm at awe of every one of you. And I've learned, whether it's meeting you personally or just from afar, so much from you. And I admire each and every one of you. I'd like to thank Channel 52 for hosting this particular and giving us the platform to talk on this panel. And also Dr. Lisa Mims. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Whatever epiphany you had, whatever God gave you, thank you for being obedient and going forward in that. So I thank you for that. What I think about all the time, my grandmother or whatever. You guys have given me the courage and the strength to run on. My grandmother used to always say that. Like I need the strength to run on. So you giving me the strength to run on. But what most prominent in my head is something that I've heard, but I kind of tweaked it a little. We are different. We have been and always will be. That's the beauty of the United States. However, it shouldn't drive us, but unite us because we're all different and we all have something to bring to the table. And thank you, ladies, for bringing everything that you have and everything that you are for our community into this table.
So first of all, I really thank everyone, from the bottom of my heart, especially Councilwoman Mims. You do an amazing job with the community, and you are someone that I really look up to. I'm going to use Benazir Bhutto's. She was the first woman prime minister of the Muslim world. Her quote was, "To make peace, one must be an uncompromising leader. And to make peace, one must embody compromise." So, and she was a very strong leader there. We have many more leaders, but she's one of them who came from a very, restricted society and was a very strong one. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure.
Thank you to our amazing moderator, Dr. Reverend Lisa Mims, and all of you on the panel. Thank you to Channel 52 and to Farah, who's behind the scenes organizing all of this. I am so grateful because, as we celebrate this moment in history, I also have my own personal disappointment to deal with. So you have created that healing space for me today. So that has been wonderful. I hope you're part of my family going forward. We need each other. My famous quote is from Maya Angelou. "I have learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. People will never forget how you made them feel." I carry this with me everywhere, to be mindful how we engage with each other. What we say leaves a long feeling way after you're done and gone. So what you have made me feel is included. What you have made me feel is warmth. What you have made me feel is that we have the power to make change, and together we can do it. We will have Kamala Harris's back. We will have Joe Biden's back, and we are going to create a world that we can leave for our children, a better place, and get to that promised land. So thank you so very much, all of you, for having me.
Thank you. And to the amazing, amazing panelists, let me just say that you are women who rock. You're doing amazing work. Continue doing it. We're watching. We stand on your shoulders. Senator Poe, my daughter's godmother, she's been in my life for I don't even know how many years. I stopped counting. I will never forget at an event we had, my daughter had lost all this weight. She's a trainer now, but she lost this weight and she was emceeing. And Senator Poe said, "Where is your daughter?" I said, "She's the MC. That is your goddaughter there." So I thank you for your mentorship, your leadership. Assemblywoman Sumter, I just cannot thank you enough. You've caught me off the plank many times. Get out of your emotions, calm down, and I'm grateful that I have direct contact. Bernice Toledo, me and your husband's mom, we grew up a block away from each other. I loved you from the very, very minute. I refer so many families to you when they're frustrated, they don't know what to do with, I don't know. I'm like, you need to reach out. You voted for her, and this is who you should talk to. And Councilwoman Esther Perez, my sister, she is a sister and a friend. We talk all the time. We share so many things and cry so many things. Commissioner Bridget Arick, I know her family. She comes from a legacy of powerful people in her family. She does amazing work for the Patterson Public School District, and then God gave her an opportunity and opened the door for the Break the Ceiling for the Manchester Regional High School to be the first African-American female commissioner, and you always have my support. My co-host, as I call her, Amber Huck, we always co-host on the show together. Today, I wanted you to get a little reprieve and be a panelist. Just keep the great work that you're doing. You're my sister for life. And Dr. Ahmad, I felt the connection immediately. So call me anytime. Your win was not a loss. It was a step to the next level. Always remember that, because the loss is not always a loss. And so here's a quote that I want to give. Channel 52, let me thank Farah Hassan. Farah has been on me for, I don't even know how long. She wants me to host some shows, and I kept saying no, almost for a year. Assemblywoman something, you know how I say no. And finally, I'm like, okay, if it's meant for me to do this, I'll do it. And so yesterday, this really was heavy on my spirit about a time to heal in America. And I said to her, can we put this together? And in a matter of hours, this was put in place, gave names out. And I thank all of you. Every name that was given, you all said yes. And I thank you for that. Thank you, Farah. Thank you, Channel 52, to your husband, Chowdhury. He knows I love you guys. But here's a quote from Lady Michelle Obama. It says, success isn't about how much money you make. It's about the difference you make in people's lives. It's not because they elected you. It's not because you were appointed. But every day that you make an impact in the people's lives, you never have to run for office. The office, you make the office look good. Keep remembering the people, and the people will always remember you. You won't even have to run. There's some people I know that did not spend $1 in an election, and they won. And as long as you remember the people, you do the work, and remember, never forget where you come from, and never be embarrassed that you are a woman. We are birthers, we rock, and we are phenomenal. God bless you, and thank you so much to our viewers for joining today. This is amazing. Please share this all over the place. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. God bless you, and God bless the great country of the United States of America. God bless you, and have a great day, everyone.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you.